Alright, it's game day.
Hi, my name is Michael McVey. I am the writer, director, and editor of Manna for Skiffleboom Productions. We made our film for the 48-hour film project, Boston 2012. The 48-hour film project is an annual worldwide competition in which teams create a film within 48 hours. Teams write, shoot, edit, and score their film 4 to 7 minutes in length without any creative preconception. To ensure teams don't preconceive their films, at the beginning of the 48 hours on Friday, each team receives a character, a prop, a line of dialogue, and a randomly selected genre. Cut to Sunday evening. 48 hours later, the film must be complete and submitted in person. The film screens at a local theater, usually in about a week. The competition starts at the local level and culminates at the international level. We began the pre-production process a couple of months before the start date, focusing on putting the right team together. And a big part of our planning was catering. Wow. Feeding the cast and crew plenty of delicious, healthy food keeps energy and morale high.
There's still one water thing.
So where'd you just come from?
Market basket.
Was it crowded?
It was hell. I thought Friday morning would be okay because nobody's there.
No, huh?
Worse than Sunday.
Another key aspect of pre-production is location scouting and equipment. Our core members met once a week for a couple of hours, discussing goals, timelines, locations. We talked a lot about our favorite films in each potential genre. We kept a shared online document organizing and detailing everything. We reviewed the rules thoroughly and watched a lot of 48-hour films to identify what works and what doesn't work. If you don't care for the characters, then the film doesn't work. If the story stagnates, the film doesn't work.
All the woodwork is from... what's the guy's name from The Who?
Pete Townsend?
Yeah, it's from his house. My name's Krista Hamel. I wrote and edited the film, and this is my second 48-hour film project experience.
Oh boy, and so it begins.
Yeah, we just heard some tunes. The way we decided to handle our writing process was, once we received the genre and the different elements that we needed to incorporate into the film, we all decided to take a half an hour on our own, come up with some ideas, and then come back to the group, and everyone went around, went over our ideas, discussed them a little bit, fleshed them out, and then we decided which one to go with. We took a couple hours to kind of outline where the story would go, and then Mike and I stayed on to write all night.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Do we know our genre?
We're about to find out.
Yeah.
No. This is live right now?
Yeah.
My name is Kellen Sutherland. I was the production sound mixer for Manna, and I recorded on-set dialogue for the movie.
I think that's him.
Yeah, that's Kellen right
Yeah,
there.
I give Mike a
I guess
text.
they're announcing it right now, huh?
That was basically my job for the day.
My name's Seth Wood. I was the cinematographer or director of photography for Manna.
Yeah, so I don't think any of us had spent too much time together except for Mike. I mean, Mike knew each of the individual players, but as a whole, like, we hadn't really spent too much time together, like, working together at all. This is kind of our first chance to really collaborate. So this was also our first time meeting Elise.
The larger the cast, the higher the risk of a weak performance, so I decided early on to focus our film on a single performance by a versatile actor, thus our MVP, Elise Manning.
My name is Robbie Candido. I am the composer of the film. I was in charge of all the music and was a co-spitballer.
This was probably the most stressful time, a little hour before we got our genre.
But I'm sure they'll post it online, right? Like the word?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when do they get shown, presented?
Wednesday
at 9:30.
Everyone had a hand in every single part of making the film, which was great. It was a great team process.
Seth shot Manna on a Canon 5D Mark III.
Some of the gear that we had rented, a little slider, and a glide cam as well. Those were the two main things for visual. We also got a basic light kit. And then on the audio side,
We rented the 2 lavalier mics, the cardioid mic with a boom pole. We mixed it in Pro Tools on Robbie's laptop.
This was an extremely stressful 20 minutes. with false alarms. Mike's having a heart attack.
It's coming. It's coming. I feel it. I can see it bouncing off the satellites right now. Here, next charge.
Oh.
Okay, hold on. Here it is. This is it. Here's our genre. Dum 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 dum.
Probably 10 minutes.
Probably 10 minutes.
Why would you do that genre? I think you told us. I need to go to the bathroom now. All that tension.
It's upstairs on the right.
Upstairs on the right?
Yep. The ticking time bomb. Yeah.
We don't know yet. This could be it.
5 more minutes.
This could be it.
5 more minutes.
Sci-fi!
Oh,
We got
shit.
sci-fi. Yep, we got science fiction.
My heart sunk at this moment.
Alright.
30 minutes, guys.
Science fiction.
I didn't want that.
That's okay.
Mike's ecstatic right now. He wanted sci-fi, so did Robbie.
All right. Science
Seth
fiction.
doesn't seem too happy though.
See you guys later. I'm gonna go for a walk.
Elise came up with Manna's basic premise during our spitball session Friday night.
Everyone kind of pitching ideas. Elise had a really good idea, and then everyone contributed to kind of really get the thing laid down. At that point, we all kind of took off, and it was left to Mike and Kristen to really nail down the script, which, you know, that was a pretty rough night for them. I tried to get a little bit of sleep. I got maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep or so that night.
But this is probably around like 1 or 2. I was on my end of the world working on music.
I took lots of mini breaks from writing to deal with other tasks, calling cast and crew from midnight to 2 a.m., designing the various Manna set posters, brewing more coffee. A change is as good as a rest.
So how do you feel about this so far?
I feel like I wish it was 10 o'clock, so. But I feel good. How do you feel?
I feel like I want to go to sleep, but I'm not allowed to.
No. Nope.
Late night editing, 2 a.m. We finished writing, I think, at 5 a.m. Finished one version of the script around 3:30, and then took another hour to go through and kind of pull it apart. Looking refreshed.
That's about 2 hours sleep right there. My entire allotment for the weekend.
Jiminy Cricket.
Cast and crew were arriving on location at 8:30 a.m., which gave me about 2 hours to get over to the sign shop, Cinerama Cambridge, and print out and install various posters and dystopian signage. Of course, none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for the illustrious Neal Cutler, who also played the Manna distributing bureaucrat. Here are 2 of our extras, Whitney and Uriah.
Hello.
I met these 2 while we were at Bunker Hill Community College in Charlestown. That's where I learned all of this great video and audio production stuff through their visual media arts program. There's Neal, one of the day's big heroes, finishing up the signs for me so I could direct my focus elsewhere.
Yeah. We were able to put a lab on Elise, and she basically had won the whole movie. She recorded on that.
Start screaming and stuff like that, it's gonna peak. So you want it in a safe zone. This is digital audio. Like if you were an analog, you'd want to push it a little harder, you know. But this is digital.
Spent about an hour here going over all the audio stuff with Kellen.
Oh yeah, coming into the parking lot of Cinerama. Wasn't paying attention. Was probably texting Mike or someone on my way in. Slammed right into the curb. Flat tire.
Here they are. Look at these guys.
Here I gave my flip camera to Jason Dornhoffer so he wouldn't burn the place down out of boredom while I dressed the set. And Terry Murtaugh. They own United Worldwide Private Car Service, and we had previously worked together on a fun little commercial.
Yeah, Terry and Jason were really great. They were perfect for the parts of kind of being government enforcement.
27B/6 is actually a reference to a reference, the Terry Gilliam film Brazil. This in turn is a reference to George Orwell, who lived at 27B Cannonberry Square, apartment number 6, while writing 1984. In Brazil, the 27B/6 is a form without which no work can be done by repairmen of the Department of Public Works. 528491 is a reference to the film Inception. Specifically, it refers to track number 6 of the epic Hans Zimmer score and the beautifully climactic scene with Cillian Murphy and the late Pete Postlethwaite.
Wasn't that the, what was Manna? Why am I thinking I know that word from somewhere? What is that?
You're thinking of Mantra, that fetish bar you used to go to.
Just loved how all the extras pitched in too. There wasn't a diva among the bunch. Everyone was willing to stick around all day.
So here we are on the set. You know?
What role are you playing, Mr. Murtaugh?
Well, I'm like...
What is your muse going to be? How are you going to approach this? How
I'm just going to try to really get into character, you know? I'm basically probably just going to stand there much like this. You know? But I hear I get to maybe, you know... Well, I'm gonna be wearing a mask.
So you give us to take the glasses off and do the eyes, the
I think I'm gonna be doing like a crying scene at some point.
Really?
But
okay.
Not sure how well that'll show up with my sunglasses.
Right. Have they brought your trailer over yet?
No. I was told I was getting a star trailer.
Don't see any cheers here either, right? You know.
No. I was told to be on set at 8:30. I expected makeup and a trailer. I had a few requests. You know, I like the lemon lime seltzer. Nothing. There's some like banana onion muffins in there, but that's not really mine.
Got masks for you guys. Very nice.
Thank you.
The fact that we use masks in the filming really turned out to be beneficial for any audio that we had to dub over in post-production.
Battery dying?
You see Mike dressed up for this today, you know. He is a avant-garde, I guess you could say, director. Yes, indeed. Hey, who's that guy in the picture in the back?
Dr. Giggles over here.
While they were kind of finishing out the finishing touches on that, I went out with Elise, and I just kind of started to nail down some shots, just some rough shots around the area to get kind of a sense of her moving around the city and being a part of the city. And so I mostly shot, I shot pretty wide at first actually. The lens that I had there was a 50mm. Had a couple of fader ND filters so that I could shoot pretty shallow depth of field. You can see the 50mm there, and it has a fader ND on the front. That allowed us to really really be able to get high quality video, but also to be able to get a really shallow depth of field in daylight, which can be difficult to do, but I think really adds to the feeling of the film. So we pretty much shot glide cam that whole first scene. I actually shot a number of shots with Elise on the 35mm, shooting pretty wide open around 1.4.
I went back and I listened to some of my favorite sci-fi movie soundtracks, do some lines like that. Like Blade Runner, the Yamaha CS80 did almost the entire movie. So for this, it was just very laid back, dirty, sawtooth synth, some snare, little bells chiming at random spots. It was just creepy, and I wanted to make like this creepy, desperate feel to everything.
At this point, I was script supervising. It was helpful to know what kind of shots Seth ended up taking, which ones worked. I jotted down which ones didn't work.
Mike, get in. Are we smiling? What are we doing?
You gonna come in?
Yeah, smile.
Like when you get on the plane and someone's wearing that, it's like, are you just paranoid or do you have tuberculosis? Yes, that changes where I sit.
I think pretty quickly we kind of decided that we were going to shoot handheld and on the glide cam, as opposed to using real steady shots. Because she's kind of, in this world where it's a rough life, it's a difficult situation, and so.
And I was kind of already thinking about editing at that point. What scenes would go well together.
Looking good, ladies.
She was moving along, but had a little trouble getting the slider set up quickly, so we ended up actually just shooting it handheld on a long lens from a distance. I shot it on a 70-200, just zoomed in, so you get that kind of compressed feeling.
Starting point, you guys. I think it'll be 1, 2, 3. Nobody in 4. So she's the only one that's gonna be walking like knocked up thing here. That's like this. Just gonna follow her. From far away. Okay, you guys. This is what's going on right here. Elise is gonna queue up at that meter over there.
Here we are by the BE Bridge, which is a great location that Seth had recommended.
Exiting through that tunnel there with all the graffiti and everything, I thought it would fit the feeling of the film really well. On both sides of that overpass there's a lot of foliage, so it was really difficult for Mike and I to kind of set up and get the continuity. He, you know, was adamant, and rightly so, about not having any greenery or foliage on the city side, you know, where she's leaving from, that needs to be industrial and not in touch with nature. So we ended up kind of really struggling to find a framing that kind of worked for that. And the framing that we did, I think, worked out pretty well.
When I saw the video of it, I thought it was great. The lighting was amazing. So I needed something big, epic, and pretty. And this is what I came up with. I started with a little piano line, added some strings.
This walking into sunlight moment wasn't in the script. I actually thought it up on location. One of the virtues of having a small crew is flexibility. I desaturated every shot preceding this moment, so the color rise gives an extra emotional impact.
How do you like the audio?
The audio is good. It's fun.
It's fun. Everything about filmmaking is fun.
It would be probably gonna have to just record over all the audio I just did, but
Equipment on the first day was very easy. You know, I was just at my studio. It's really great atmosphere. It was very creative. Help the creative juices flow, I guess. I stayed in my studio till about 2 in the morning, then I was like, alright, I gotta finish this at my house. So I went back to my place, brought my keyboard there, because you really don't know what to write until you actually see the picture. Yeah, Sunday morning I banged out 4 tracks actually. Man, that was rough.
Robby was a real trooper. We didn't cut our first assembly till about 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, so he had very little turnaround time. This shot is on the Cambridge side of the Longfellow Bridge in Boston. This scene originally contained much more dialogue, but we needed to make some cuts to keep the running time under 7 minutes. The rough cut was about 8 minutes 30 seconds. We were forced to distill the dialogue to, "I need to know, please William, and you're making a big mistake."
So what are you doing next? We're going to North Andover.
We ended up jacking Mike up on a 5-hour energy. And getting him rolling. The poor kid was starving. He was just like wolfing down falafel, like he'd never tasted food before.
I would have never. You could have gave me like 3 people guesses. You and 2 other people, I probably would have guessed you last.
What are you guys looking at?
I guess I see it now.
I've known Steve Fischetti since I was a little kid.
Altoids.
We used to make movies all the time as kids, so working him into Manna kind of keeps that tradition alive for me.
So now we are heading up to North Andover to my mother's house, which ended up being a great location for the outdoor wooded shots that we wanted to get. There's my horse, Spirit. He didn't make it into the film, sadly. If we had pulled Western for our genre, we definitely would have used the horses.
This should be the outside of the house, the idyllic house. Hey, Mike, we can do the garage.
yeah, come check the garage. I think the garage is gonna be perfect, dude.
All right. Oh yeah.
See, you got the door coming in, the bare walls.
Yeah,
perfect.
I didn't even
we
think
just
about
pull this back, roll
Perfect.
that. It's gonna be awesome.
It was kind of hollow sounding room. If you can hear, it's kind of echoey.
Rock and roll.
Did you get the burn?
Hey,
The
hold
war
on a
wound?
second. Yeah, check that out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No one's gone to the hospital yet.
And this is where Seth got the great shots of Elise coming down the road. Him and Mike were basically rolling around in the swamp trying to get these shots together.
I'm setting up a slider with a long lens
so that we could do the tracking shots of Elise. I was having a little trouble with the head mounts at that point. So we want to, and that way we can get the same lens.
The same shot.
Same type of shot, you know, very, very similar. All right, I'll take the head.
Oh, bollocks. Bollocks, 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 bollocks. Is that capturing audio too?
Bollocks.
Bollocks was the word of the day.
Here we go.
Never mind the bollocks. We're the Sex Pistols. It's the name of an album, I think.
Wow. Good job, Johnny Rotten. This is the first time the color green makes a full-on appearance. The idea was to color starve the audience with a palette of gray so that the green is a welcome relief when it finally comes. I told Seth here that I wanted a Terrence Malick, a shot of Elise's wonder of nature from a low angle with the sun breaking through the trees. You see that a lot in his work. Seth is a huge Malick fan, so that's literally all the direction he needed. To get this shot, Seth took a photo of Kristen from a spot that we marked. After some quick Photoshop, I printed out the photo and aged it. When we returned to the same spot and using the same lens, we did a point of view shot. And the shot was filmed in reverse, as it was easier for Seth to pull focus. What do you got here?
That's my grandmother, Valerie. Yes. She did an excellent job of playing the role of Elise's mother. She's definitely a ham.
Yeah, the interiors here ended up working out pretty well, I think. I mean, we just kind of shot from the hip and figured it out. We actually did, I think, like 3 or 4 different setups with the slider in different locations for her entering and moving around the room. Obviously, the refrigerator shot, you know, Mike knew what he wanted on that, and so I set that one up. Most of these interiors, once again, were shot with the 35mm. You know, fairly wide to be able to pull everything in. The other thing with that lens, once again, was that it has that low f-stop, so I was able to shoot in those low light conditions.
There's Kellen, waiting.
This is the last thing I wrote on Friday night, actually. I like to expand it. The whole track's only like a minute long, but you know, I feel like it builds, tells a story, and then ends in a very short amount of time, which is what we needed.
We were losing the light pretty fast, so I tried turning on the kitchen lights, which had a dimmer switch. It dawned on me that the lighting could help visually express her character's emotions. Seth really dislikes the tungsten lighting and how it affects the color temperature, so at first he wasn't having it, but I convinced him.
We didn't have anybody to shoot this part, and I agreed to act as the bagger. If you've ever tried to bag somebody, it's not easy to do it right.
Elise, how does it feel to be strangled like 8 times in a row?
Phenomenal.
Over and over
Ecstasy.
It's not pure
It was only 8.
Are you ready? Are you ready for your close-up?
Yes. No. We thought you were going to do the whole cheesecloth thing, like Doris Day used to have.
This is what filmmaking is all about. Waiting around. Waiting forever.
Mm-hmm. And then in the middle of it, you have to pee. I know, the money's good. The money's good.
This is definitely a tough scene. This was the last scene of the night. Everyone was tired.
Here's where we actually used artificial lighting, and we used the Airy little lighting kit and set it up. Mike came in and wanted to break up the light and did a great job. On the fly, he cut up a box and we slatted the box over in front of the main key light.
There was some problems getting the Pro Tools session working for that scene.
The home stretch. How does everyone feel? Ready to kill everyone else?
First, I wanted to give the space an oppressive, prison-like feel with the stark contrasting shadows. It's almost noir. We shot Valerie's shadow on the wall during her death scene because it's harder to scrutinize if she's holding her breath or moving her eyes. It's more impactful in the audience if they're filling in the details with their own imagination. Look, Elise even acts with her hands on the inserts. She's a total pro. Valerie is on the left, Elise is on the right. After Valerie's death scene, Elise assumes her position in the chair on the left of the screen, suggesting that she is doomed to the same fate as her mother.
So when we finally got those shots done, we were pretty much, I think, at least 2 hours behind schedule.
If we had it to do over, I would definitely push harder to to end around 6 or 7 o'clock at night, just to have those few extra hours where we're not totally stressed editing.
Immediately started converting everything to ProRes. Mike did half the footage and I did half the footage and then brought it up to him.
She cooked all this food. There's Emily.
And now we are editing in the morning on Sunday.
It was tough, you know, having the same people playing multiple roles because then they didn't have time to rest, but that's kind of the way this gig goes.
Oh, hello.
Slower?
Here's Robby composing.
This is my setup here. It's a little semi-weighted M audio keyboard. Ran it through a D to A converter. Just that Profire 1418 right there. Ran it into my Mac. Hooked my Mac up to the big screen. Got to watch the movie while I was writing tunes. It was a great little setup. I think I literally sat in that chair for like 6 hours straight. Yeah, definitely needed a stretch after that, but it was well worth it. That little shotgun mic we rented really saved the day. We stuck Elise in a little closet next to the audio recording room, covered it in pillows, and did overdubs for everything. And then Mike had a great Joe Pesci rant in there as well that we should add to this documentary.
You're asking me what? Come on. The f*** is f***ing Cat in the Hat? I'll f***ing cat your f***ing hat and your f***ing boulder that you left your hat on, you f***ing Manna pills.
And there's Seth starting to film the commercial.
Propaganda commercial that was supposed to happen at the beginning section where there's a bunch of empty space.
In the morning on Sunday, but just didn't have enough time to edit into the film. We actually did a lot more work on Sunday than I think we probably should have. A lot of extra shots.
Yeah, at this point we're all fried. I think Mike was on 2 hours of sleep. I was on about 4. Something like that. So plan not to sleep if you're going to work on this.
Of May 20th, 2012. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is Skiffleboom Productions. Wait, the funniest one is when he misses. It's like, here's the suspense.
Okay, keep going.
It is 3 o'clock.
Okay, let's get the score. Let's get ready.
He kind of has a stick. It's a good one, though.
You ever hear about the Mad Architects? No. You gotta check them out. They're building this giant tower. But it's like stacked. Kind of like set up like a timber.
And we finished with half an hour to spare, which is kind of unheard of for this competition. I'd say the most stressful hours of the entire process were between 2 and 5 p.m. on Sunday.
I think probably the roughest day was Sunday, you know, just trying to get all the final things cut together and edited.
The final last 10 minutes of editing was like a very stressful final thing where you're kind of just like, okay, we're gonna have to deal with this and just forget about it and move to the next thing, or can't emphasize how much every minute counts.
Even the morning of Sunday was not that stressful, but once we hit those afternoon hours where we needed to get the soundtrack in, put in the audio that we re-recorded, and just basically figure out how we can shave down some time, extremely stressful. We were all on edge.
You know, as we shot this thing, we did take a little too much time on some of our shooting, and that did end up cutting into the editing time and the post-production time.
It was really rewarding experience. Highly recommend it to any filmmaker. And having such a short start and end time, no matter what you come up with, it's pretty rewarding at the end.
And here we are on our way to Boston Beer Works.
Oh, you did, I'm sorry.
It's official. It's official.
It's official.
Thank you. It's official. Yeah, we're in.
Ow!
Here are all the rest of the teams waiting.
So Elise, anyway, she ended up recording all her lines, and then she had to leave. So it was too bad that she couldn't be there, kind of for, because she really did a fabulous job. She was really solid to work with. She would just perform. She was there, ready to go, you know.
Oh, here comes one team running in. 5 seconds. No, don't turn around. It's a pretty male-dominated competition, I noticed. Not a lot of women out there.
This was pretty exciting. It's my first work I've ever been a part of. I played on a big screen in front of people. And there were like 3 tracks that I wrote that didn't even make it to the movie. So like, I had a lot of material to work with. And that was my goal from the beginning, to give you guys not only the material you wanted, but other things as well. To like pick and choose from, take snippets here and there.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There's Ben Giraldi, producer of the Boston 48-Hour Film Project.
If you're still working on your film, please keep working. We are going to screen it. You will still be eligible for audience awards. We want to see your work, so please keep working on it.
And here we are the night of the screening. This was really exciting.
On our way to the premiere of Manna by Skiffleboom Productions. And these fine ladies and their catering services are also the limo service for the evening and escort service.
Oh, yeah. Escort.
Okay, you want to make this look?
Yeah, that's fine.
I couldn't stop smiling the entire time that our film was on the screen. They're wonderful caterers.
That's just one, but 5 old prostitutes went into that smell.
And there's a pretty wide variety of different films that we saw. I'd say there was a good number of films that looked like the people that produced them, that was their first time. There were some more professional films, a lot of great stories.
More awkward, be more awkward.
I was really nervous to see how the sound was on a giant freaking system. You know, there's a lot of watts of power in a theater. You know, if the bass is up a little bit too high, it could be overpowering, you know?
Here we are at the screening of the 48-Hour Film Festival. We're very excited.
Go Manna.
Go Manna.
It's great. Difficult. And yeah, let's cheer for them. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't even know what that is. So some statistics on what you just cheered for. 86 teams began the filmmaking weekend here in Boston. 84 of them completed films. Wow. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. Yeah, that's unusual, yeah. And this is even more unusual. 71 of those films were on time. Yeah. You guys are getting pretty good at this, which is kind of great. That's about 1,300 filmmakers in the New England region making films. There was one guy in New York, but I think it was just him, and then everybody else was here in New England. We've had 3 screenings already. This is our 4th, and we've got 2 tomorrow, 1 at 7, 1 at 9:30.
So yeah, it was cool to watch this thing getting screened, you know. That's the first time seeing my work on, you know, a big screen, and so I think it was really great. I think it was the first time for Mike as well.
Manna pills. Manna pills keep us healthy and strong.
So after the film screened, we had the opportunity to do a Q&A.
Before every scene, have everything ready to go. You know, sometimes you can't prepare for things that are going to happen with your computer.
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty static.
Always try to double up. That's the lesson I learned from that. Definitely know the gear that you're working with beforehand. Read, study as much as you can.
Choose your team wisely. Having more is not always better. You know, 4 people calling the shots is more than enough. 5 people.
Holiday film, whatever the hell that is, like, what does it come out much better than...
Before the movie, we spent all our time focusing on pre-production, as far as rental equipment, and all the gear we would need, but also everyone that was involved and how we were going to utilize everyone involved. Work your butt off, manage your time, eat healthy food, keep your body going.
Can we take a group picture?
Yeah.
Getting a big hug, because that was awesome.
If you're on 2 hours of sleep and you eat a ton of pizza, you're not going to feel good the next day, that's for sure. Worry about making a good product, not about what comes after.
I mean, I think the other thing that was good, only having, you know, one main actor,
And, you know, I mean, you have one secondary with Valerie, and I feel like, you know, for being untrained, she did a really good job. And I think it was really smart to kind of keep things really narrow and streamlined without having a lot of characters. Because if you have one solid person who can really carry, then I think it's a lot easier way when you're under the gun like this to really get things done. I think I'm just there talking shop with Sam about the different equipment that we used and everything.
Definitely plan what you can, get locations locked down, crew, extras that are committed to being there for the full weekend, know your equipment, know your editing equipment. Yeah, I mean, our main focus the entire time was get the story right, get the characters right. Like, that was our biggest thing. Everything else will fall into line.
Mike McVey and Steve I've known since in basically middle school. I actually haven't seen Steve for years, and I just saw him making this movie. So that was that's another good part about making movies. It brings people together. You know, it's like any art form.
Everybody's dying. We're all dying.
It was the most fun I think I've ever had in my life. Making movies, I love making movies, and I can't wait to do it again.